In Kitimat today, a major economic development story is unfolding. A story about partnerships between industry, governments, and the First Nations that originally populated this region, and a story about renewal. A big part of this renewal began in 2006 when Alcan announced the $2 billion modernization of its Kitimat smelter, potentially expanding the facility's lifespan for another 50 years. Also on the horizon are plans, once only far-off dreams, to develop the Port of Kitimat to its fullest potential, and giving the region and its communities a fuller stake in international trade.
It's about reestablishing our trade and commerce, but in a modern context. And what we're doing is we're reestablishing our trade ties with our neighbors through our energy corridor, which has now evolved into a trade corridor.
Development of a modern Pacific port in Kitimat calls for the commitment of many partners, and the infusion of a lot of capital, and the trust that brings both those things together.
When we proceed on a project, we're putting tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars to work. We have to know that that group we're doing business with is stable and someone that we can trust and is truly a partner.
The development of a new Pacific gateway at Kitimat, a modern, custom-designed port facility, seems destined, finally, to be headed our way.
This is an opportunity to do something that people had thought about for a very long time, and it's going to happen. It's a real project with real players that want to make it succeed.
The Haisla First Nation and other First Nation communities have all said, how can we work with you? It's not putting up roadblocks, it's building bridges right now. The community has actually come forth. How can we help you with your application? How can we help you with your project?
From our perspective, we feel that we have a very good relationship, and that the Haisla are going to be an integral part to our project either working or not succeeding.
Now's the timing for this huge development. You know, worldwide, there's a shortage of resources. And the Kitimat Valley is situated between Alberta and Asia. And that corridor is going to be one of the most exciting corridors for the Pacific Northwest, and particularly for British Columbia.
The partners coming together on the Northwest Coast agree that Kitimat has a number of distinct and compelling advantages as a port for the 21st century.
We believe there's a tremendous amount of potential in the Kitimat area with the Alcan modernization project, the Kitimat LNG project, and pipeline projects coming into the area.
And it has ready access to major markets in North America because it has rail lines that tie to that region, and it is it's not an area that is overwhelmed right now like the Port of Vancouver is.
The potential for world-class deep-sea port facility makes it a very attractive port opportunity for us.
We are always looking for other outlets for Canadian cargoes, and also, of course, for ports which can handle imports into Canada. And the lower mainland is quite congested.
We have a shorter rail route to the Midwest. That's important. Or shorter rail routes to northern British Columbia, to the tar sands, to northern Saskatchewan, all which are areas that are seeing significant construction boom. And so Kitimat has some tremendous strategic advantages.
These competitive advantages are luring industry partners across Canada. They include the energy industry that is leading growth in Western Canada, and other companies with an eye to offshore markets, and those with an eye to a new port that gives them easier, quicker access to those markets.
The Asian Pacific marketplace is very important to Alcan and BC. In fact, 95% of our export and our product goes to the Asia-Pacific Rim countries.
Kitimat is excellently located in a prime location, a great fjord, and a community that's willing to work with operations and different companies right now.
We like Kitimat. We like the existing footprint there and the history of marine operations in that area.
And Kitimat provides just a great opportunity to grow our business in ways that we know we'll be successful because we understand marine transportation, and a lot of Kitimat is going to be around marine transportation.
Certainly from our perspective, you know, the ingredients being fiber and logistics and cost-effective access to markets, you know, we see it all in Kitimat.
Development of the Kitimat port, a long unrealized dream, holds great promise for Canadian industry and the economy as a whole, but also promises significant benefits for the communities on the coast. In particular, the Haisla First Nation, which is leading the effort to finally bring the dream to reality.
And that's where Chief Steve Wilson is really good at, is understanding need to think out long term and no instant hits, but taking a 5-year, 10-year time horizon to develop in a very mature way the Kitimat village and the people that live there.
Steve Wilson's agenda or dream is a very doable dream. Steve is very pro-business. He's very pro-employment related. He's very aggressive at trying to build partnerships for the long term.
And over the last 10 to 15 years, we really have struggled here with looking at areas where there can be some significant growth in our communities here. The kind of growth that'll allow us to keep our families here and provide opportunities for our children and that kind of thing.
We have a tremendous asset. It's a national asset. I think it's that moment in time where the world is seeing that we should be developing it, and we're at the forefront of that development, and the Haisla and the First Nations are part of it, and that actually I find incredibly exciting.
What I see is our people moving to be able to compete on a regional, and national, and international level. And if you look at our history with our trade and commerce from First Nation to First Nation, we traveled up and down the coast. We traveled overland. And now that the world is so small, with technology, we can trade anywhere in the world. And I think given the opportunity, our people can excel at that and trade with the best of the people in the world. That's exciting to me.
After many decades of imagining what might be for Kitimat, an uncommon alliance of community, industry, and government is today forging ahead to make it happen. These specific partnerships, for so long working at odds and moving in different directions, have found some common ground where they share a common vision. And what they see, economic growth and social prosperity, is no longer on the distant shore, but here, at home, on the Douglas Channel.
What makes me really do the work is knowing that the work that I do is going to benefit my kids and their kids, and it keeps me going to work every day, keeps me leaving home to come to places where business is done so that we can secure our future. And it's a future that is so different than what we live in now, and that is worth everything that I've been through.
What we envision is a better standard of living for our community, better education, our own professionals, managing the affairs of our community.
My son, Stephen Jr., said to me, "I'm going to be just like you, Dad." And I said, "Nah, you're going to be better." That's what it's about.